10 signs she's using you, and you don't even see it. There's a hard truth many men don't realize until it's too late, and that truth is that not every woman who stays in your life is there because she genuinely values you or cares about you in the way you assume. Sometimes she stays because of what she gets from you: your time, your attention, your emotional support, your money, your energy, your stability. And the dangerous part is that it never looks obvious in the beginning. There is no clear moment where she says it directly, no single event that makes everything collapse. Instead, it shows up in patterns, small behaviors, subtle shifts, changes in energy that happen slowly over time. And if you are not paying attention, you will continue investing yourself into something that is only benefiting one side. So this is not about paranoia. It is about awareness, because once you start seeing these signs, clearly you stop being used without realizing it, and you start seeing the relationship for what it actually is and not what you hope it to be now. 1. She only shows up when she needs something. At first, everything feels normal. She texts, she calls, she engages, but over time you start noticing a pattern. She becomes more present only when she needs something from you. Could be attention, emotional support, validation, help with her problems, or even financial assistance. And once she gets what she wants, she slowly becomes distant again, less responsive, less engaged, less interested, and this creates confusion in your mind because you start associating her presence with your usefulness and not your value. But real interest does not work like that. Someone who genuinely cares about you does not only appear when there is something to gain, they show consistency, even when they need nothing now. 2. The effort is always one-sided. You are the one initiating conversations. You are the one planning meetings. You are the one keeping the connection alive. And at first you justify it. Maybe she is busy, maybe she's tired, maybe that is just her personality, but deep down you feel the imbalance because you're constantly pouring energy into something that does not pour back into you. And when effort is not mutual, the relationship stops being something you're building together and becomes something you are maintaining alone now. 3. She avoids investing in you emotionally, mentally, or even in small supportive ways. She does not show curiosity about your goals. She does not engage deeply in your growth. And she does not contribute to your progress in the way you contribute to hers. And over time, you realize the relationship feels centered around her, needs, her emotions, her life, and not yours. And when that imbalance becomes normal, you slowly start lowering your expectations without realizing it now. For she keeps things just good enough, not too good to make you feel secure, and not too bad to make you leave. She gives you just enough attention to keep you attached, just enough affection to keep you emotionally invested, just enough communication to prevent distance, but never enough consistency to create stability. And this creates a psychological loop where you stay hoping for more, but more never fully arrives now. 5. She does not respect your time. She cancels plans easily. She reschedules without accountability. She shows up when it suits her and expects you to adjust constantly. And this is important because how someone treats your time is how they value you. And when your time becomes flexible for them, but their time is rigid for you, that imbalance shows you exactly where you stand in their priorities now. 6. She only engages when it benefits her, and this becomes more obvious the longer you pay attention to the pattern because conversations start to revolve heavily around her life, her problems, her emotions, her needs, and her experiences. And whenever the focus shifts toward you, the energy changes. She becomes less interested, less responsive, and less emotionally present. And you start noticing that you're being used as a space where she can release her emotions or get validation rather than someone she is genuinely invested in, and over time this imbalance becomes normal to her because you allow it. And when someone gets used to receiving without giving, they rarely correct that behavior on their own now. 7. She avoids commitment but keeps you close, and this creates one of the most confusing emotional states because she does not fully define what you are to her. She does not fully invest in building something stable with you, but at the same time, she does not completely let you go either, and this keeps you stuck in a cycle of uncertainty where you're constantly trying to interpret mixed signals, trying to understand where you stand, trying to decode her behavior. And the truth is this kind of dynamic is often maintained because it provides her access to your attention, your effort, and your emotional availability without requiring her to fully commit or take responsibility for the relationship. And that imbalance slowly drains your clarity and makes you emotionally dependent on answers she never intends to fully give now. 8. You feel drained after interacting with her, and this is one of the most honest indicators of imbalance, because your body and mind always respond to emotional reality even when your logic tries to ignore it. After conversations or time spent with her, instead of feeling calm or fulfilled, you feel mentally tired, emotionally heavy, or even confused, and that is because real mutual connections give energy, while one-sided connections take energy without replacement. And when you consistently feel drained after interactions, it means something in the exchange is not balanced, even if nothing is openly wrong now. 9. She does not support your growth. And this becomes clearer when you start focusing on improving your life, your discipline, your mindset, your goals, and your direction. Because instead of encouraging that growth or showing interest in your progress, she becomes distant, indifferent, or sometimes subtly resistant. And the reason for this is simple. When you grow stronger, more focused, and more independent, you naturally become less emotionally dependent and less available in the way she is used to. And anyone who benefits from your dependence will not always be comfortable with your independence, even if they do not say it directly now. 10. You feel it, but you ignore it. And this is the most important sign of all, because before all the patterns, before all the behaviors, before everything becomes obvious, there is always a feeling, something inside. You start to shift, you notice inconsistency, you feel emotional distance, you sense that something is no longer the same. But instead of trusting that internal signal, you override it with hope. You tell yourself you're overthinking. You tell yourself it is just a phase. You tell yourself things will go back to how they were. But the truth is, intuition rarely speaks loudly. It speaks quietly and consistently. And when you ignore it repeatedly, you begin to disconnect from yourself more than from the other person, because you start prioritizing what you want to believe over what you actually observe. And that is where most people lose themselves, not because they lack intelligence, but because they ignore what they already know deep down. And at the end of the day, this is not about blaming anyone. It is about clarity, because once you start seeing these patterns for what they are, you reach a point where you have to make a decision. Do you continue investing your time, your energy, and your emotions into something that consistently drains you? Or do you step back and reclaim your stability? And stepping back does not mean reacting emotionally or creating conflict. It means becoming aware of your value. It means recognizing that your time and attention are not meant to be given without respect or balance. It means choosing to protect your mental space instead of sacrificing it for uncertainty. And once you start doing that, everything shifts. Your thinking becomes clearer, your emotions become calmer, and you stop chasing validation from someone who benefits from your confusion. And instead, you begin focusing on yourself, your goals, your growth, and your direction. And that is where real change happens, not when you try to control someone else, but when you finally take control of what you allow into your life. Because the moment you stop accepting less, you stop building your life around situations that drain you, and you start building something that actually supports your growth and your peace. Follow for more if you want to understand women better.